K9 dog digs up a child's shoe. What it led to shook the whole town. It was a warm spring morning at Westbridge Elementary. The sun was shining, kids were laughing, and the swings creaked as students flew back and forth. Teachers chatted by the benches, sipping their coffee, not expecting anything unusual. Officer Ethan Cole stood near the edge of the playground, holding the leash of his K9 partner, Brisk. The German Shepherd had recently been assigned to the school as part of a new safety program. Brisk was well-trained, calm, and alert. The students loved him. Some even waved when they saw him patrolling the yard. But then something changed. Brisk froze in place. His ears perked up, his eyes locked on something near the old wooden shed at the far end of the field, a spot most kids didn't even go near. Without warning, Brisk pulled hard on his leash and bolted. Officer Cole called after him, "Brisk, heel!" But the dog didn't listen. Brisk ran straight to the side of the shed and began digging, fast. Dirt flew behind him as his paws clawed at the dry earth. His body was tense, tail low, and he let out loud, sharp barks. The sound echoed across the playground, silencing the children. A basketball stopped bouncing. A lunchbox dropped from a student's hand. Everyone turned to look. Miss Helena Dre, the school counselor, rushed over. "Brisk, no," she shouted. "Stop that." But the dog didn't stop. Officer Cole ran over and clipped on Brisk's leash, trying to pull him back. "He's found something," he said, more to himself than anyone else. Just then, Brisk stopped digging and let out a long, low whine. Cole knelt beside the disturbed ground and brushed the dirt away carefully. Something pink poked through the soil. At first, he thought it was a toy, but as he pulled it free, his heart sank. It was a child's sneaker, tiny, faded, and covered in dust. The shoe had a worn-out butterfly sticker on the side, the kind of sticker that had gone out of style years ago. Principal Adrian Rusk was called to the scene. He stared at the shoe in silence, then placed it on a clean napkin inside the teacher's lounge. "Do you think," a teacher whispered, "could this belong to her?" Miss Dre's hand shook. "It looks just like the shoes Isla Jansen wore." Isla, a name that hadn't been said aloud in years. 7 years ago, Isla Jansen, a quiet 6-year-old girl with bright eyes and purple glasses, disappeared from the school during recess. One moment, she was playing near the backfield, and the next, she was gone. No witnesses, no footage, no trace. Despite a massive search, they found nothing. No one was ever arrested. Some people thought she had been taken. Others believed she wandered off, but her body was never found. Eventually, the case went cold. But now, this shoe had been buried right here, just feet from where she was last seen. Detective Clara Marin arrived soon after. She had led the original investigation years ago and had never stopped thinking about Isla. When she saw the shoe, her breath caught. "Get forensics here," she said quietly. "We're reopening the case." Back in room 2B, Harper Mays sat silently at her desk, clutching her drawing pad. She was small for her age, with big eyes and a thoughtful expression. She had always loved coloring books, especially ones with dogs. Miss Dre walked into the classroom, trying to stay calm. "Everything's fine," she told the students. "Recess just ended early today." Harper looked up from her desk. "Is that dog looking for Isla?" she asked in a soft voice. Miss Dre blinked. "What did you say, sweetie?" Harper hesitated. "My mom said a girl disappeared a long time ago. I saw her name once behind the shed. Someone had written, 'Isla was here on the bricks.'" The room went quiet. Miss Dre's face went pale. Outside, Brisk remained by the dug-up spot, lying flat against the ground. His eyes stayed focused on the soil, as if he knew something more was waiting just beneath the surface. Officer Cole stood nearby, uneasy. "He's never acted like this before," he said. Detective Marin nodded slowly. "That dog didn't just find a clue. He just woke up a ghost."
The news of the pink sneaker spread quickly through Westbridge. Parents whispered to each other in the pickup line. Teachers talked in hushed voices behind closed doors. Even the students could feel something strange was going on. Detective Clara Marin returned the next morning with a small forensics team. They wore gloves and moved carefully around the shed, Brisk stood nearby, eyes sharp, tail still. Officer Ethan Cole stood beside him, his hand resting lightly on the leash. Brisk began to dig again, just a few inches from where he had found the shoe. A small crowd gathered, watching. This time, they found something metal, a heart-shaped locket caked with dirt and bent from time. Detective Marin gently cleaned it off. The words were still there. To Isla, love Mom. Marin felt her stomach twist. She remembered Isla's mother well, how she cried during every interview, how she never stopped searching. Marin looked at Brisk, then at Cole. Your dog just reopened a case we were never able to close. In the classroom, Harper sat drawing again. Her pictures had changed. Now she was sketching a girl with purple glasses standing next to a dog. Is that your friend? Miss Dre asked softly. Harper shook her head. That's Isla. She's still here. Miss Dre knelt beside her. How do you know that? Harper looked up. She told me in my dream. She said she was buried, but the dog could hear her. He barked loud enough for God to hear. The counselor's hands shook. She didn't know what to say. Meanwhile, Detective Marin began rereading Isla's old case file. Isla had vanished during recess on April 10th, 2016. She was last seen walking toward the storage shed. At the time, the janitor, Harold Dunning, had been questioned and released. There was no security footage. The cameras weren't working that day. Marin decided to visit Harold. He now lived alone in a small house outside of town. He looked older, with deep wrinkles and tired eyes. He invited her in and sat on a worn-out recliner. I knew this day would come, he said quietly. Marin sat across from him. Mr. Dunning, do you remember the day Isla disappeared? He nodded. She liked to draw behind the shed. Said it was quiet there. That day I saw her go out back. I didn't think much of it, but then I heard something, a scream. I ran over, but she was gone. Why didn't you tell anyone? Harold looked down. I tried, but a man came to me. He said he was from the district office. He told me not to talk. He said it was being handled. He paused. I didn't know what to do. People already looked at me funny. I was scared. Marin leaned forward. What did this man look like? Average, Harold whispered. Brown hair, blue sneakers. He smelled like peppermint gum. Marin's heart raced. That matched the description Harper gave. Back at the school, Brisk walked near the storm drain behind the shed. He sniffed, barked once, then twice. Officer Cole knelt beside him and brushed away the leaves. Something shiny stuck out of the dirt. It was a faded ID badge, the kind visitors wear. The name on it read, Aaron Pike, Maintenance. Cole showed it to Marin later that afternoon. I don't remember anyone by that name working here, Marin said. I checked, Cole replied. There's no record of him. No one named Aaron Pike ever officially worked at this school. Marin contacted the FBI. That evening, Harper drew again. This time, she sketched Isla standing next to a tall man in a janitor's uniform. The man's face was blank, but in his hand was a key ring. Under the picture, Harper had written, he locked her in and threw away the key. The FBI confirmed that Aaron Pike was a fake name. They found the same alias linked to missing children cases at other schools across 2 states. It was a pattern, and now they had a clue. Brisk had found the first piece, and Harper, through her drawings, might hold the next. Detective Marin and Agent Grace Mallory from the FBI sat in a quiet room at the police station, staring at a small object on the table, the heart-shaped locket that Brisk had helped uncover. Forensics had just finished testing it. Marin picked it up carefully, opened it with gloved fingers and gasped. Inside the locket wasn't a photo. It was a tiny memory card. They rushed it to the lab. Minutes later, the file opened on the screen. It was a grainy video. A young girl, Isla, sat on a mattress in a small windowless room. She looked frightened. Her eyes were red and she was crying softly. Then a man walked into the frame. Agent Mallory leaned forward. Pause it. They froze the screen. The man's face was now clear. Brown hair, slim frame, wearing a grey shirt and blue sneakers. His badge read Aaron Pike, but they all knew now that name was fake. Still, it was him. Finally, they had proof. Not just a story, not just a guess. Real evidence. Mallory stood. We're putting out a national alert. This man isn't just a suspect anymore. He's a predator, and he's been doing this for a long time. Meanwhile, back at the school, Brisk began acting strangely again. He kept walking the same straight line between the old shed and the staff parking lot, over and over. Officer Cole followed him, confused. What are you showing me, boy? Suddenly, Brisk stopped by a rusted drain. He barked, twice, then 3 times, loud and clear. Cole knelt beside the grate and spotted something wedged between broken leaves and mud. It was a sealed envelope. On the outside, a sticky note was stuck. The message read, "Tell the dog to stay out of my business." Cole's heart pounded. Whoever had written that had been nearby, and recently. Detective Marin and Agent Mallory rushed to the scene. Marin held up the envelope. "He's watching us." He came back. The school quietly went into lockdown. Teachers were told it was a drill. The kids didn't suspect a thing. But behind the scenes, security guards were posted at every door. That afternoon, Harper was in room 2B, drawing again near the window. Ms. Dre passed her desk and stopped. Harper's newest picture made her freeze. It showed Ella again, but this time not alone. Beside her stood the man from before. This time his face was fully drawn. He wore the same grey shirt, same badge, same shoes. A key ring hung from his belt. Under the picture, Harper had written, "He came back for the necklace." Ms. Dre rushed the drawing to Marin. "What necklace?" Mallory asked when she saw the note. Harper spoke softly. "The locket. She said there's a secret inside." That's when Marin realized the video might not be all the locket held. They took it back to the lab, removed the memory card again, and checked its files. There was one more hidden folder. Inside, they found names, dates, and locations, files connected to other schools and missing children. "This is huge," Mallory said. "It's not just Isla. He's been doing this for over a decade." Back at the school, Brisk stayed near Officer Cole, alert and tense. Then, during recess, Brisk suddenly pulled hard on his leash and ran toward the delivery gate. On the other side of the chain-link fence stood a man. He wore a baseball cap, hoodie, and kept his head down. Too calm, too still. When Cole shouted, "Hey!" the man looked up, and Cole saw those same peppermint eyes from the video, cold and fake. The man turned and ran. Brisk barked and bolted. Officers chased him. They called in drones. Streets were blocked off, but the man vanished again, like smoke. Later, just past the playground fence, they found disturbed leaves near a sewer pipe. A boot print. Fresh. Agent Mallory looked out at the trees, face tight. He's not done. He came back for something. Maybe even someone. In her bedroom that night, Harper told her mom, "He's still looking, but he's afraid of Brisk now." Her mom hugged her tight. "Why?" "Because Brisk doesn't forget," Harper whispered, "and neither do I." The next morning, the air at Westbridge Elementary felt different. Fog hung low over the grass, and the teachers spoke in quiet voices. Though the school looked the same, everyone knew something had changed. The truth was finally coming out. In the police station, Agent Mallory stared at the enhanced photo of the man from the video, Aaron Pike, the fake school worker. His real name was still unknown, but now they had a face, a voice, and a crime. The FBI shared the video with the Department of Justice and entered the man's picture into every national database. Within hours, a match appeared. An old police report from 2013. A woman in Florida had called about a strange man hanging around her daughter's school, offering computer help. He left before police arrived. No arrest. But the description matched exactly. Peppermint smell, blue sneakers, friendly voice, and eyes that didn't smile. The man had used fake names and ghost companies to move from town to town. But now, thanks to Brisk and a child's drawing, they were on his trail. A nationwide alert was sent out. This time, they wouldn't let him disappear. Back at school, a special assembly was held in the auditorium. Students, teachers, and parents filled the room. Some stood along the walls. Others sat in silence, waiting. At the front, a large screen showed a photo of Isla Jansen, smiling with her purple glasses and butterfly hair clips. Principal Adrian Rusk stepped up to the microphone. "We're here today to remember Isla," he said softly. "She was one of us. She was never forgotten. And now, we honor the one who helped bring her voice back." Everyone turned as Brisk entered with Officer Cole. The German Shepherd walked calmly to the front, tail low, ears alert. The room stood and clapped. Some cried, some whispered, "That's the dog who found her." Ms. Dre stepped forward next. "I've been a counselor here for 17 years, she said. "I remember every child who sat in my room. Isla was quiet, kind, and full of life. We didn't know how to help her before, but someone did." She looked down at Brisk and smiled through her tears. This dog didn't just dig up the past, he uncovered the truth. Principal Rusk bent down and pinned a small medal onto Brisk's vest. It read, "For the voice you gave." Harper sat in the front row with her mother. She held her sketchpad in her lap. After the ceremony, she stood and walked over to Brisk. She hugged his neck and whispered, "She's not scared anymore." That night, Detective Marin sat in her office writing a letter. It was for Isla's mother, who had moved far away after the disappearance. She hadn't come to the memorial but had asked one question. Was Isla alone when they found her? Marin stared at the paper a long time. Then she wrote, she was never truly alone. She had a friend waiting to find her. Outside, Officer Cole and Brisk walked one last lap around the school grounds. Brisk stopped near the shed again, sat down and looked up at the sky. It was peaceful now, quiet, but not empty. A few days later, students helped build a new garden near the shed. They planted flowers and added painted rocks and paper butterflies. In the center stood a bronze statue of a German shepherd, not standing tall or ready to fight, but sitting calmly, watching, listening. A plaque beneath the statue read, "For those who were buried in silence and the one who refused to be." Harper's final drawing was pinned above her bed. It showed Isla standing on a hill, smiling, with Brisk beside her. Behind them was a shadow shrinking in the distance. Above their heads, in crayon letters, Harper had written, "Some voices are louder than silence." The case remained open. The search for the man continued, but the town no longer felt afraid. They felt strong, and they knew that sometimes justice doesn't start in a courtroom. Sometimes it begins with a bark.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Love Tales of Tales, for long, heartwarming pets and animals, love stories that stay with you long after they end.